Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Hello. I'm all right. How are you?
You ready to get this show on the road?
Why not?
The subject matter tonight is very important to me, so I'm interested in seeing how this goes. Hey everyone, and welcome to or welcome back to One Man and One Woman, the podcast. I am one half of your co-hosts, Tara Michelle,
And I am Jedi Flan.
Jade Flan, the man who's thousands of miles away from his microphone. Tonight's subject matter is abuse. And I want to talk about it as a whole. So we're going to touch on mental, emotional, and physical. I'll start off by asking you this question. Out of those three types of abuse, which one do you think is the worst?
I'd probably go with the emotional, sort of, mental
Emotional?
abuse. I think physical abuse is horrible, and the consequences can be deadly. Um, but sometimes, those scars, if you survive it, are sometimes easier to heal than the ones that are left um, from emotional
I
abuse.
agree.
Nobody should have to go through either. Um,
Hmm.
and I hate to even compare the two, but for me, probably emotional.
I agree with you 100%. As someone who has dealt with all three at the hands of my mother and exes, well, really just, a couple of exes. I can say, barring being like burned, the acid burns and the things that are going to disfigure, maim, or kill. If we're just talking about the type of physical abuse, which is, slapping, punching, choking you out, and things like that, that you could eventually heal the scars from, I would agree with you. I think it's all terrible. It's all very scary. And it all takes work, whether it's physical therapy to learn how to walk again or talk again, or surgeries to be able to chew again, or, downtime and healing to be able to see again. There's, a lot with the physical, but then there's also a lot of prayer and meditation and therapy that you need to overcome the mental and the emotional abuse. So I'm not really sure how to dive into this because I don't want to make this personal about my situation. I think everyone who knows me knows my situation, and I've talked about it on plenty of platforms. But I recently found out that someone who is a close relation to me could quite possibly be in a very detrimental situation, and it made me want to speak to the aspects of mental abuse, the reasons why we end up in situations like this. So, um, where do you think abuse starts normally? Do you think it's something that starts from a parent or at home or maybe school? Like, where do you think it's most prevalent in its induction stages, or when it's first introduced to a person?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I guess I would assume um, as a child, either something that they see, a household that they grow up in, the way they see people being treated or the way they see conflict or things being resolved or, things that happen to them, violence or trauma that's inflicted upon them. But yeah, I think most seeds are sown, as children, either something you see or something that happens to you that you tend to act out, once you get of age.
Yeah. I think it starts at home. I think a lot of times it does start because of one or both of the parents, but there's something about a lack of self worth. And I think when we're talking about, I want to speak specific to women. I know that there are men out here who are being abused. I don't know any personally, that I know of physically being abused by women, but I do know that that's a thing, but I can't speak to it. So when I think about the women that I know, even myself, when I was, young, much, 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 much younger, and I was going through something like this, um, there is a low self-esteem aspect, or, or maybe or, low self-worth, where you just don't value yourself. You don't believe that anybody will love you, should love you, could ever love you for whatever reason. There's also um learned behaviors. You have some women who get their butts whooped in front of their kids. Those kids see those butt whoopings, and those little girls grow up and think, "Oh, the only way I know my man loves me is if he's hitting me." And those boys grow up thinking the only way they can show their woman that they love them is by hitting them. So the tragedy comes from these learned behaviors and these family curses, these generational curses. And um, you have girls who learn nothing. They grow up to be women and they continue to deal with this type of behavior. The person that I'm speaking about who could potentially be in a situation like this is grown, growner than grown, older than me grown, and yet could still potentially be in this situation. So let's talk about low self worth, low self esteem. How do you feel like that makes people susceptible to being preyed upon by master manipulators and abusive people of any kind?
I mean, yeah, if you don't value yourself or love yourself, I think a lot of it, when we talk about the self esteem and the self worth, also that that self love, like loving yourself. If you don't love yourself, then you're looking for that from someplace external, and a predator can come in and know to provide you that. I will provide you that thing that you're looking for, and then I will hold you hostage for it. I'll remove you from everything that you know and you love, because now I'm the source of this thing that you need. So I think, yeah, a lot of it is like not knowing yourself, not loving yourself, not ever being taught to love yourself, not ever being taught to value yourself, not ever being taught that you have value, and that just puts you in a place where everybody needs that, everybody wants that, you're looking for that, and there are a lot of people that can easily see that and be ready to give it to you for a price.
Absolutely. And that price is your freedom, your well being, your safety, your
Or let me say,
body.
be ready to give you something that looks like it for a price. It's not love.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's absolutely not true. So, in this scenario that's in my head, that speaks true and rings true for a lot of women, I'm sure. Um, what if we have a girl who grows up, she has an alcoholic father who beats on his wife. She, may or may not have seen her or witnessed her mother go through these things. So she grows up. She thinks this is the normal activity. She has low self esteem and no self worth, and she gives herself to many, 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 many men. And she lives her life in this world, trying to find love, someone to love her, someone to fulfill her and make her happy because she doesn't know that she should be seeking those things herself. And she comes across someone who manipulates her very, very easily. Because when you have no self-worth, when you value um uh, the love, or what looks like love, of a man, the control, the dominance of a man over your life, more than the freedom to be you, the ability to take care of yourself, to be a mom, to be a woman, to be, loved, it makes you a very dangerous person. So to a certain extent, these people are definitely victims, especially when they're young and this is happening. But I truly believe that in situations where you continuously seek out the same thing, you know what I'm saying? If you've been in multiple abusive relationships, I'm gonna bite off some of the stuff that you say in other episodes. It's 2024 at this point. At this point, if you have broken free from your last one, that should be your last. To willingly walk in To mess with married men still these day and ages, to be a mistress willingly, to get into fights with wives and with a goal of stealing a husband, and tie yourself to somebody that toxic. To me, it almost is like you leave victimhood and you become a monster too, because you are playing into your own self-destruction. How do you feel about that point of view?
Um, to me, honestly, as I heard you talk about it, it touches a personal space for me because it sounds a lot like addiction. It sounds a lot like a person that feels like they need something so much that they're willing to excuse all of the bad things that come along with it. They find ways to make it okay. They find ways to make it make sense. And to a person on the outside looking in, it looks crazy, and it looks like something that you're doing to yourself and that you have complete control over stopping. Um, just if when you're in it, it never feels like you have that control.
And it's not just you that's affected when you do things like this. You're risking your life. You're risking the life of your children. You're risking this person influencing your children. If you have a son, to make your son like him, to create more monsters and bring them into this world. And then you get into the space of family. Nobody, you have to understand that your family does not want to watch you be with someone who is abusive to you, be with someone who is hurting you and harming you. And the craziest thing in the world to me is these women who have family members who will step up to defend them, and they will literally lash out in defense of their abuser. And it's, see, I hit it. So there was nobody to confront me on it and come at me and me get mad at them. So this part I don't understand because it was never my experience. It was never my life. But honestly, as an adult, how dare you lash out at the people who love you and care about you? How dare you say, oh, but this person is helping me pay my bills. And because I'm laying with this person every night, it's okay for him to beat me, to berate me, to destroy me mentally and emotionally and physically. And how dare anyone who loves me come in and try to rescue me? I just want anyone listening that to know that that's what you sound like. When your family members and your friends come in protective mode and they want to care for you and they want to help you out of that, you can't look at it like, oh, well, are you going to pay my bills? Is that the sacrifice? Is that what's important to you? You are so willing to give a person complete dominance over you, and again, to just degrade and demean and destroy you mentally and emotionally and physically so that you don't have to work as much, so that you don't have to pay all the bills. 50-50 financially is worth getting your ass whooped. Is that what we're saying? And you're right. It does sound like an addiction, but eventually the family's going to say, this is her choice. This is his choice. This is the path that they chose. There's nothing that we can do. When we try to step in, when we try to help, they lash out. They get mad at us. And that's a party time for the master manipulator, for the abuser, because their dream, their goal, their ambition is to isolate you and get you into that Stockholm syndrome era where you really believe that your captor, you really believe that your abuser is your savior, is your lover, should be your husband, is your everything. And the reason I'm so riled up is because I know this person enough to know there's no freaking way she be doing this at her age. There is no way that should have willingly walked in and fought to be his newest slave, his newest captive, his newest abuser. Willingly. From what I've been told, her mother's tried to get her out of it, other family members, and again, now she's not talking to most of them, if any of them. And when I bring this up, because hey, everybody's like, nope, you got to stay out of it. We have tried, it didn't work. Now we just got to let it be. So, if you're listening right now, I want you to know when you sit back and you put yourself through this, If you have people who love you, you're hurting them too. And it's not to pile it on you, but I'm trying to get you to understand. Could you imagine, like, if you're listening to me right now and you're in an abusive relationship, there's so many resources where you can get help. You may have to stay in a homeless shelter for a while. I did with a young kid. I made it out. There's also this generational curse that I talked about, where think about your daughter if you have one, or think about your son if you have one. Is this the life you want for them? Because that's what you're setting them up for. If you're allowing them to watch you get beat, if you're allowing the man that's beating you to train your son to be that way, you are training your daughter to be that way, to be the woman who accepts getting whooped on by anybody, and to accept that as what life is supposed to be. And as a parent who supposedly loves their child, how dare you? How dare you? In 2024, in a day and age when there's a possibility that you've watched your family members go through this, when you've watched your family members put somebody through this is the arena you want to step in, and this is the life that you choose for yourself. How much do you think we need to give people credit for when it comes to choosing this type of behavior?
Um, you know, for me, and just I know what I did. I know what it had to look like to people on the outside looking in. So for me, it's just it's grace. I look at these people like sick, ill. I was, I am still ill. And that's how I look at people who make decisions like this. A rational, a sane person wouldn't make that decision. So I can't judge them like a sane person because I clearly, I can see that they're not. Um, for me, I would say the thing to do. All you really can do is let somebody know that when they're ready, when they want to reach out, you'll be there. Um, but other than that, like you said, they may lash out at you. That's where they're choosing to be. That's where they, want to be or feel like they have to be for whatever reason. But sometimes a person just knowing in the back of my mind, if I ever did decide to make a change, there's somebody waiting for me to do that. That can help. So that, I guess that's would be my approach to it. Grace first, because I just look at people as going through something. You sick at the moment.
You know, I think about a time when I was in a situation like this, and I think about all the reasons I gave myself for putting up with it. I really want this relationship to last. I want to break the generational curses in my family of people who don't stay married. I want to do this right. I'm sure I can love this out of him. I'm sure he's only this way because he watched his granddad do it. He watched his dad do it. But I'm going to be the woman that helps him. It's foolishness. All of it is foolishness to put on yourself that you need to change somebody and break somebody's bad habits. And at the risk of your body, your mind, your soul, your spirit. How do you not love yourself enough? I still reach back out to that young girl in me and just go, "Hi, girl, what were we think? I know I'm sorry, I know what we were thinking. We were thinking we could change him. We were thinking that we didn't want to be embarrassed and have to get divorced. We were thinking we didn't want to fail like everybody else in our family. We were thinking we were supposed to stick it out because we said I do. Listen, again, to anyone that's listening to this, male, female, non binary, I don't care. You are worth being treated properly. And it is the best thing for you in this life that we have, that you be happy as you can be, as joyous as you can be. And anybody in your life who's not willing to bring that to you in safetyness or or safely does not deserve to be in your life. Anyone who feels it is okay to beat you physically, to demean you and degrade you emotionally, to try to break you mentally, does not deserve the God given, beauty and light inside of you. They don't. They don't deserve to poison your bloodline. They don't deserve to wreak havoc upon you. You should not be you know what? Let me just give you a little bit of the scenario and how things happen in relationships. You get with a person who seems like they're so great. So at the beginning, I understand fully why you're with this person, you know? And then all of a sudden, they start to isolate you from everybody that you know and you love. If you have friends, if you have family members, people who care about you and check on you, they will get to pulling you away. They will always need you. Anytime that you're on the phone, they want you off the phone. Anytime you want to go somewhere, they got a reason why you shouldn't, or they want you to go with them. And the next thing you know, when you wake up and you look around, none of the people who've always been there for you are around anymore because you have allowed this person to isolate you. Once you are isolated, you belong to them. Now, if you getting beat up, if you're getting talked bad to, if you're getting broken down, no one knows. And now you feel like you're alone because they have made you that. They've isolated you and you absolutely are alone. So now you feel like I've been gone for so long. I haven't talked to anybody for so long. They don't want to hear from me. Or if I call, they're going to be mad at me. They're going to want to know where I've been. Will they care enough? Yes, we care. We care. We absolutely care. And anytime you're ready, when you're ready. Also, let me tell you about the manipulative things that these men, these monsters will do. Even the women that are abusive, they will say things to you like they'll hurt themselves if you leave. Let me tell you something. Let them leave anyway. And they will tell you things like, I got far reaches. I got friends that are cops and, family members that are cops and people that are, protect me if I do this and if I do that. And I will unalive you and do all these things if you try to leave me. Hmm. You better know who you are, where you come from, and what your bloodline is capable of. You better know that you have the resilience to stand strong. If you need to go and call cops that are not in the area that he knows, if you need to call the FBI, I don't care. You need to make sure if you got to put it on social media so that everybody knows, and there are all eyes on you. So every single person knows if something happens to you, that person did it. 9 times out of 10, well, I'm not going to say that because there are some really unstable people these days. But most times, these men do not want to do jail time for murder. So a lot of times it's just talk to get you to stay. And if you think it's real, then you need to start reaching out to your family and your friends and figure out how to get you out quietly. Or if you have males in your family, have them go have a quick talk with them about how you about they about to pack their stuff and move about your house. Or you're about to pack your things. They're gonna help you pack your things and he gonna sit there and deal with it. And he can go what he needs to do is find anger management, prayer, and God and get his life together. But the most important thing is you have to love yourself enough to know that you deserve better. So do not allow yourself to be manipulated. Do not allow yourself to be isolated. Do not allow yourself to be beat up on, degraded, demeaned, destroyed because you didn't do anything to deserve it. I don't care what you've done in the past life or who you've done it to. Pray, ask God for forgiveness, meditate, whatever your thing is, whatever you do. You know what I'm saying? Say a couple of Hail Marys. I don't know how it works for every religion and every person. Um, but get yourself together and understand that you deserve better. I can't say that enough. And I can stand in this space 10 toes down as somebody who's gone through it and tell you that it gets better the moment you leave. What do you think is the best advice we can give to someone who hears us? Like, they're listening right now and they hear us, but they're still a little bit in denial. They're fully aware they're getting their butts whooped. But something in them is warped and they think they deserve it or they did something to cause it. Like, how do you think it's best to get in? I guess kind of sort of subliminally, because I'm not naming people and I'm talking to anybody in this world who is in this situation. What's the best advice you can give them for the reason that they should leave that situation?
Because you're worth it. You're worth it. There's nothing more valuable or precious on this life, on this planet than human life. And there's so much that you could be, so much you could do if you were fully yourself, if you could be free, if you could be happy, if you could spread your wings and be able to show the world who you are. Um, we want that from you. We need that from you. And hopefully one day you'll want that and need that for yourself. And when you do, we'll be waiting.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Um, to know that any woman in my family, any friend, any coworker, anybody that I know and that I see is going through something like this, it hurts and it's concerning to me. But I cannot want better for you if you don't want it. No one can want better for you if you do not want it. So I will say this: at some point, you have to understand it's okay to choose yourself. Your parents may not have chosen you, your mate may not have chosen you. Your kids get to a certain age and they may not choose you. And when I say things like this, I mean your kids may go out and live their life totally the opposite of how you raised them, which could cause you heartbreak. Your mates could mistreat you, cheat on you. They may not choose to uphold those vows or that commitment to you. Your parents may not have been the best parents, taking care of you, protected you, taught you, done anything right. But that's okay because you can choose you. You can always choose you. And to anyone that I'm talking to, if you can hear my voice and you personally know me, then you know somebody who will help you figure that plan out. Whether it's call some shelters for you, whether it's figuring out what family members you can go stay with, or where you can leave in the middle of the night and be protected. What plan you can have to get a restraining order, or like I said, have a few fellas show up and have a conversation. Yeah, I mean, it's doable. It's doable because whatever that person's problem is, it's not you. In this particular situation I'm talking about, this person's been doing this for eons. This person has been just leaving a string of broken, battered, and abused women in his wake, as if it's the greatest joy he's ever had in life, which makes him criminally dangerous, spiritually, morally corrupt, and bankrupt. And you deserve better. You deserve better. Your kids deserve better. Your kids' deserve better. Your mother deserves better than to see her daughter go through this. Your siblings, your cousins, nieces, nephews, whoever, they deserve to know that you're in one piece, that you're safe, you're not broken, you're not battered, you're not bruised. And you deserve the therapy that it's going to take to get you to understand your self-worth. No matter who you are worth living a life where you don't have to live in fear, you don't have to be punished, you don't have to be broken. Whether you believe it or not, I am telling you, you are worth it. You're worth happiness and safety. Anything else you got for the people?
I just want to say to the men listening that this is the kind of abuse that she's talking about is our issue. This is not a woman's issue. This is a men's issue. We have to do better. We have to protect those we've been given a responsibility to protect. If you have a friend or you know somebody who treats anyone like this, you shouldn't feel comfortable standing beside them, and they shouldn't feel comfortable standing beside you. We can't just pretend like because it don't happen in front of us, or you know that's not your people or whatever, that is okay. It's cool. Like, this is our issue. We have to do better.
I'm glad that you said that. Thank you for that. Because speaking from the standpoint of other men, now I'm not asking any man who does not know a woman necessarily out in public to stand in between her and her dude fighting, because a lot of times those women will switch it up and start defending their abuser against you. Now you didn't got, caught some hot lead, or, been stabbed, or something crazy's happened to you because you were trying to, be the hero. Call the cops. Record it and call the cops. Let them handle it. Then I get scared when I say that, because sometimes the cops show up and unalive the wrong person. However, it's crazy to me how many men I see on I see and I hear on podcasts allowing other men to talk about how they would beat a girl up, how they would abuse a woman, how they would take her out, unalive her. They sit on panels with these dudes saying these horrendous things and they say nothing. And we're talking about dudes who are just having a conversation. They're not specifically talking about a certain female. They're just out here letting you know in this world that they will beat a woman, that they would off a woman if she made him mad enough to do so. And these men sit on these panels and they let these dudes say this. And it's a very rare occasion where a man will stand up and say, yo, 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 you can't talk like that in front of me. That may be how you get down. That may be the way you think, but that's sick and twisted. And that's some weak stuff. As a grown man, if you sit out here and say you hit a woman, come talk to me like that. Like these are the kind of conversation we need to be having with these people. But too often, when it's friends and it's family members, men will not check that. Too often, it's the women in the family who are telling the woman, leave him if he keep beating you. It's not the man who's beating her brothers or sons or cousins that's coming in rallying to say, hey, you can't do this. And I appreciate you so much for saying that this is a man's issue, not so much a woman's issue, because where are the men? And why is it that in 2024, men don't fit? And I'm just speaking to the men, and I'm speaking about women they know. Women they know, they are with, they are related to. Why are you so willing to sit back and let other men talk about bringing harm to or ending the life of Black women? Why is that such an easy thing to do in 2024? In ever, but in 2024.
Are you asking me?
No, it's I'm just letting it sit for, dramatic purposes, but I see it too often and it's disgusting. And not a lot of times when it's happening, I'm sitting there praying, I'm just like, man, this is ridiculous. Y'all, this is just the constant talking about whooping on women is just outrageous. I'm saying something because the men are not. And that's why you have so many men out here thinking it's okay to do because nobody is telling them, hey, bro, you can't do that. You can't move like that. I won't accept that. As your friend, I see you hitting on your girl, I'ma hit you. Like there's no threat to them from another man. Everybody's just willing to sit there and let these monsters be. Um, it- it's a lot. And as women, let me throw this out there. As women, when we stay, we're giving them consent. When we stay, it's the same as saying we condone him putting his hands on us. That we condone him breaking us, bruising us. Because silence is not always golden. Man, this subject is, I could go on, but it's just so sad to me that it's not just the young girls making these mistakes, it's women pushing in 50. It's women in their 50s and 60s. I have another family member who decided to start dating people in her mid upper 50s that was beating on her. Now, how you didn't do that when you were younger and then you got older and decided that was the time to start letting somebody break your body? It's incredible to me. And I don't mean to sound judgmental. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to judge you. What I'm trying to do is get you to say, I don't want this for myself and break free. Reach out. There are too many people who are waiting on you to make that phone call. And when people come to check on you, don't lash out at them. If it's not safe to talk at that time, let them know. But that person ain't around you all the time. You can call and ask somebody to come and get you. You can call and ask somebody to come over there and be with you. You can call and ask somebody to support you in a getaway plan or an escape. You do not have to deal with this. And let me tell you something, a piece of a man is not better than no man. If you are with a man who is not a man, he's a monster, he's an abuser. If you're with someone who just doesn't want to treat you right, Do you know how much happier you can be by yourself? They say I can do bad by myself. You can do good by yourself. You can do great by yourself. It doesn't have to be bad. We got to stop with that saying because there are a lot of women sitting around thinking it's better to have a man that beat me than to have no man at all. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I don't care if you got to go somewhere and move in and get a roommate. I don't care if you got to get two jobs. You do what you got to do to not get beat on because you deserve it. That's all I got for this evening. Anything else you want to say, Mr. Flan?
And I think you covered it. Just,
Okay, well, until next week, you guys, please be good to yourself. Please reevaluate some things and understand your self worth. Please protect yourself and be kind to others. Holla.
holla.